Hello, in this video, we would discuss the concept of free consent given under the Indian Contract Act, and we would also discuss the concept of coercion given under the Indian Contract Act with its cases. So, one of the essentials for a valid contract is that the parties must have the free consent, that is, the agreement must be made with the free consent of the parties, then only it will constitute a valid contract. This has been given under Section 10 of the Indian Contract Act, which says that what agreements are contracts. All agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. So this is one of the essentials for a valid contract. If there is no any free consent, the contract would be voidable. Okay, so let's know the meaning of consent, what consent actually is. So the word consent has been defined under Section 13 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, which says that two or more persons are said to consent when they agree upon the same thing and in the same sense. So if you are selling a house, another person is willing to buy that house, and he has also understood that you are selling that particular house, and everything is clear that the house which is being sold is that house. So this is considered to be a consent when they know everything that what they are willing to buy. So now let's discuss about the free consent. What is free consent? It has been defined under Section 14 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, which says that consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion as defined in Section 15, undue influence as defined in Section 16, fraud as defined in Section 17, misrepresentation as defined in Section 18, and mistake subject to provisions of Section 20, 21, and 22. So if all these things are present, the agreement will not be a contract. Okay. So what is coercion? The word coercion has been defined as Section 15 of the Indian Contract Act, which says that coercion is the committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by the Indian Penal Code, or the unlawful detaining or threatening to detain any property to the prejudice of any person, whatever with the intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. So two of its essential are committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by Indian Penal Code. And the second essential is unlawful detaining or threatening to detain any property to the prejudice of any person. So one of the explanation given under section 15 is that it is immaterial whether Indian Penal Code is or is not in force at the place where coercion is employed. One of the illustration attached to the section says that if A makes an agreement with B under coercion when he is in England at a ship, then A has employed coercion, although his act is not an offense by the law of England. Okay. So some of the leading cases related to coercion are the case of Ranganayakama versus Alvar City, ILR 1889. In this case, after the death of husband, his body was not being allowed to be removed for cremation until the wife adopts a boy. So the wife adopted the boy in this case, but the adoption was not held to be valid as it was caused by coercion, as the wife was compelled to adopt. If the wife had not adopted the boy, then the body of her husband would not have been removed for cremation. So this was held to be coercion under section 15. The next case is of Chikkam Amiraju versus Chikkam Seshama ILR 1918. In this case, threat to commit suicide was held to be coercion under section 15 of the Indian Contract Act, and the sale deed executed was declared voidable. So this is the effect of an agreement caused without free consent, that the agreement is voidable. Okay, so threat to strike is not coercion. In the case of workmen of Appenty State versus an industrial tribunal, it was held that threat to strike was not coercion. In this case, the workers of a factory were threatening the owner of the factory to go to strike if they don't get bonuses. Then it was held that threat to strike was not coercion. So if you really like this video, please hit a like button and subscribe to my channel.